Hey everybody, we've got the second NASCAR event of the version 9.4 race at Richmond. So, yeah, we got the Richmond 400 special event, and this event currently open, and it's gonna be another 5-stage special event. So once you get started, you'll have 5 days to complete it. And I would recommend, if you can set aside 3-hour block of time. The reason being, you can kind of guess why, because they do offer 3-hour instant service and instant upgrade or tuning setup installation, I guess, for this guys. Once you start the event. So obviously, if you don't have to wait, it's kind of nice to get it done right away. And in terms of earning, obviously you get to win a car. You can pick whichever one you want. At the end, you don't have to necessarily pick the car that you raced throughout the event, but that, in my opinion, that kind of defeats the purpose. I would say pick wisely at the beginning and, pick that up at the end of the event. And let's see, 5 stages, just like the one at Daytona that just concluded. We got 3 goals in stage 1, 4 goals on each stage from stage 2 through 4. And then final stage 5, we're going to have 5 goals. So total goals total. And let's see, once again, 28 total tuning setups available on this car. And because this one relies more on, I guess, as you can see, we got more tuning setup possibilities available on the brakes and the suspension, and not as much on acceleration and the speed elements. They are basically letting go a little bit more balanced tuning setup, right? So we don't have like 10 tuning setups like we did at the Daytona, where you got 10 for gearbox mapping and 10 for power unit optimization. This one we got still 9 on top speed, although I feel like having 9 tuning setups available on the what is that, the one that deals with the acceleration, the gear power unit optimization, I think would have been more effective. But that's not what we were given, so we have to work with the hand that we're given, right? So PR requirement is 53.7, and you get there without having to spend any gold if you don't want to. But that means you will have to shell out some 2,080,600 motorsport dollars. So hopefully you've saved up, so that way you don't have to spend gold to basically complete this event. And you do get 50 gold in return. So, and you do get 250,000 motorsport dollars return as a reward on top of what you would earn through each race, right? Which, by the way, this one a little bit longer event than the Daytona one, so this one will take, and you will earn more as well because of that reason. So this one, I think, if you run through basically 3 hours from having earned no motorsport dollars for today's limit, then you might be hitting it just right, or just slightly over 250,000 motorsport dollar daily cap. So ideally, if you want all your effort in the game to go towards the some sort of a currency return, then you would have to kind of figure out well, I'm sure by now you guys know what time in your region the daily motorsport dollar cap resets. Yes, so plan it so that towards the third hour, your daily cap gets reset. So that way, if you have some extra time after you complete the event, I think you should be able to complete this event within 3 hours, unless life events back, and then obviously do attend to that. That's more important. But if you can get it straight through, then you might have some extra time left over at the end. Then obviously, then you can head on over to the 2021 season of the NASCAR and make some progress there, because that's gonna take a while to get through. Yes, and with the maximum PR that we get from the maxing out the tuning setup from this event, it is I want to say higher PR than what you would get from the Daytona tuning setup. But before I make that assumption, let me check in to my car and make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, I know, dismal progress here, but let's check out. So, never mind, I take it back. This is what you get with the maxed out tuning setup installed on your car from Daytona tuning setup. So Daytona tuning setup will get you higher PR just by 0.3 PR point, right? It's you max out at 54 as opposed to 53.7, which is what you get from the Richmond. Probably because you get the acceleration tuning setup is more expensive, but you do get a higher PR boost compared to the brakes one that we got going here with the Richmond. Now, let's talk about the choice of cars. Right, so unlike the Daytona event, this one we don't just go flat out throughout the whole circuit, right? Richmond, much smaller, much tighter oval ring. So this one, acceleration and grip are going to be the two main components that you want your car to have a bit more emphasis on, which means I think one of the best car choice for this event is either going to be the Team Penske Mustang, which has a pretty decent grip and acceleration is kind of in the middle of the road. So I think that's a pretty good choice. Or Richard Childress Racing, right? RCR Chevy Camaro ZL1 1LE. That one is all about acceleration. That one has by far the best acceleration. So that's also another very good candidate for this event. Otherwise, the other cars are kind of all in the middle. Joe Gibbs Racing, the Toyota, has pretty decent grip. Of course, number one gripper is Stu Haas Racing Ford Mustang, but that one has some severely dampened acceleration. So that's the one that takes the longest for the acceleration, but doesn't have the highest grip. So, but I don't think this circuit, even with the highest grip, you can just go flat out all the time. You do have to slow down. So as soon as you slow down, you got to pick up that speed again when you're coming out of those the oval corners, which means you still need good acceleration to give yourself a kick in the back, right? So 23XI, because the grip on that car is just junk in comparison. It's the lowest grip Car along with a Chip Ganassi Racing. So those two, I'm gonna say, probably are the least favored cars to pick up. Even the Chip Ganassi does have a pretty decent acceleration, but and top speed, I don't think will, even though the tuning setup suggests that's gonna be very important, I think you will be better off with the car with a better acceleration and the grip. So when you compare those two specs across the board, I would say either, you know what, let's actually go to the NASCAR season, then we can actually compare the specs. Now that it's open, we don't have to stare at a blank wall. Yeah, I was in the last video for Daytona when I was comparing cars, I pulled up a spreadsheet that I made, but apparently my screen recorder did not like it only records essentially the game screen and nothing else, apparently. Who knew? It used to let me record whatever's on the screen, but they changed something, so that didn't work out. So anyway, I was saying, so Joe Gibbs Toyota, pretty decent car, right? So, oh yeah, I am back in metric setting. So let me, you know what, we can, for comparing specs, it doesn't matter. We can compare, right? Because really, only thing that we are concerned about are two elements that, whether metric or imperial, makes no difference. Seconds are seconds, and the grip is a G. So 1.12 G, which is the second best grip rating for 2021 season NASCAR roster. So as I said, Joe Gibbs Racing, a pretty decent pick. Where it suffers is the fact that acceleration is a little bit on a slower side. And we're just going to skip over 23XI Racing because I feel like perhaps most of you guys picked that up. Let's see. Yeah, you just look at the number of my TSM friends that went with the 23XI Racing from last event. Most of you guys did. So I would say that's probably the best choice. Not as popular were the Joe Gibbs Racing. And definitely not Stu Haas, because this is the one with the slowest pickup, 3.46 seconds for the acceleration. So, but in terms of grip, it is the best gripper, 1.13 G. So, but I feel like this event, you still need some help in the acceleration department. So that takes us to the one of the better choices, Team Penske, Ford Mustang, because it does have a pretty good grip, 1.12 G, and the acceleration time is 3.43 seconds, which, as I said, is not the best, but it's kind of smack in the middle. Because, maybe on a little bit on the faster side of things, because this season, the acceleration time, the fastest one, the Richard Childress Racing, is coming in at 3.41 seconds. And then the slowest one, Stu Haas Racing, comes in at 3.46 seconds. So 3.43 is a little bit closer to the faster end of the spectrum. So that's a pretty good choice. And then Richard Petty, this one is, its strength is braking distance, which is, this is a grip over speed. So I am hesitant to recommend this car to anybody for really not just this event, for really any event. Sorry, Richard. It's not this year. And the other really solid pick, I would say, is this guy, Richard Childress Racing Chevy Camaro. So because it's got the best acceleration, 3.41 seconds coming in at the top, right? And the grip isn't as strong, but you can make up for it in acceleration. So as long as you can hit those apex timing correctly, then you would have a great time with this car. So between this one and Team Penske is a little bit more forgiving in that aspect because it has a higher grip. You can be, a little bit sloppy with the, how you handle the apex. But Richard Childress has, I think, a better chance of, if you relies more heavily on your skill as a driver, that you can definitely come out ahead with this car, I think. That's my opinion. And the Hendrick Motorsport was a very good choice for the Daytona. This one, one of the weak points of this car is the acceleration. It's one of the slower ones, 3.44 seconds. So I would not recommend this one for this event. Unless you like the challenge, then by all means. And then finally, Chip Ganassi is not a bad choice. It does have a second best acceleration of 3.42 seconds, but where it lacks is it does have like possibly it is the lowest grip car, 1.1 G. So I know compared to Richard Childress, it's only 0.01 G difference. So maybe it's not going to be as bad. And you know what? Actually, I take that back. This could possibly a very good car because the acceleration is decent. Top speed actually is better than Richard Childress. But it does you do lose out on the grip by 0.1 G. Not 0.01 G, right? And then it does have a better braking distance. It is a car with the best braking distance, right along with Richard Petty Motorsport. So that just means you can, brake a little bit later than your opponents. So yeah, still, I think I'm still gonna stick to my top picks as being either Team Penske or Richard Childress as my top 2 picks, and then followed by perhaps the Joe Gibbs Toyota and the Chip Ganassi Chevy. And then the rest can just kind of fight amongst themselves. So there is a bit of a overview for the special event, right, at Richmond 400. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas on strategizing your game. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video when I will try to make some progress through this event or through this game somewhere. So all right, take care.